Mayong udto kanatong tanan. My dear friends, it is always our natural tendency as human persons that whenever times are so hard against us, tribulations come, problems there and then, we will always recoil. And even perhaps we are shaken to our foundation, most especially on our faith of God. Some people may question about God's existence, and many others would also question about His love and His concern for all of us. And our relationship with Him would be at the brink of collapse. And yet, there is another tendency whenever we are confronted with such difficulties in life, and that is thinking and believing that sufferings are graces, that sufferings are opportunities, moment of grace, because in them we can see that there is an element that ennobles us. There is an element that sanctifies us. If not, sufferings are there in order to somehow introduce to us to its redemptive and ennobling effects. Here in our readings today, we've been given such kind of a perspective, such kind of an attitude, something that is opposed to our natural and human tendency of recoiling and abandoning sometimes our faith whenever times are rough. In the Gospel, we're told about the courage of Jesus, even if He was confronted with so much evil. When He was threatened to death, that Herod wants to kill you, you have to abandon and leave this place. And yet, instead of getting frozen with fear, Jesus explains to them the necessity to confront these situations, because in difficult situations, in sacrifices, His mission will be fulfilled. So also taking the inspiration from the first reading from the letter of Paul to the Ephesians, he said to us and reminded the early Christians in Ephesus that you should find strength in God. Put on the armor of God. Just like Jesus confronts His suffering and not recoiling it and not cowarding, we will also do the same. Because the moment we face our sufferings, our problems, it is also the moment of grace for us. The moment that we can confront our problems and difficult situations in life, it is when that we realize that we have imbued good virtues and values in us. Because Jesus reminds us that the cross is not a suffering, that the cross is not a kind of coercion, but it has its ennobling effect. It has its redeeming value. It is something that can purify us and something that can sanctify ourselves. Therefore, we learn from the gospel today. I know we have all sorts of sufferings. We have all sorts of problems, crosses that we carry now, that we have to endure, because Jesus confronts His suffering, because this is the only way to redeem the world. This is the only way to defeat evil once and for all. And this is the only way that we can have the gift of salvation that we cannot offer to ourselves, but only God can offer through His ultimate suffering and death on the cross. We learn from Jesus. We learn from the example of St. Paul. We learn from those saints who find sufferings, who find tribulations as their way of sanctifying themselves. Amen.